there's been so much going on in the NBA with the Lakers this weekend. Which direction are the Lakers heading?
Yeah, look, the Lakers there's two negotiations going on with the Lakers right now. There's the negotiations that they have with the teams that they're in talks with on trades.
Yeah.
And there's the negotiation LeBron is sending with his passive-aggressive stuff, his bag of maneuvers that are all very deniable because he's a master at it, but he has made it extremely clear he wants the Lakers to be aggressive. What the Lakers have done in talks from people that I have talked to is that they have been willing to trade the 2029 first-round pick that they have in their coffers.
Yeah.
But what they have not been willing to do is give everything that they've got.
Okay.
Multiple pick swaps, Austin Reeves, looking to go and use second-round picks in another deal to get expiring money because teams who are talking to them about D'Angelo Russell aren't crazy about his player option. I think they want to try to improve their roster, but they've also watched this team, to use LeBron's words, be Jekyll and Hyde, and they've watched them win at the highest level in some of the hardest places. Look, in this last month, they've beat Oklahoma City twice.
Yeah.
In Boston, in New York, they've beaten the Clippers. They won the in-season tournament. Like, this isn't necessarily a team that, if they add one little piece, is going to solve everything.
Yeah.
I think they are going to try to improve, and it wouldn't surprise me if they did something, but I don't think that they have the interest in pouring everything they've got onto the table to make a deal.
What would you do, Austin?
I would hold tight for now. I don't see even a piece out there in terms of who's in trade talks for them to make them that much better. If we're talking a DeJounte Murray or something like that, I love him. He's a great player. But in terms of fit with LeBron, who needs shooting around him, I don't know how that fit necessarily works. D'Lo's playing his best basketball. Trade talk D'Lo has been a marvel to watch. Let me tell you that right now. He's been a marvel to watch. Listen, this is a team that won the in-season tournament. At their best, when it was time to go win something, they went and won it.
Yeah.
The problem with this team has been consistency all year long. And listen, it doesn't help that LeBron's had like these little subliminal messages. I'm a big LeBron fan like us all.
Yeah.
The hourglass, all those things, like it just creates more drama on a team that's already going to have a lot of drama, being the Lakers. They are like the Dallas Cowboys of the NBA. So we got to talk about them every day, whether we like it or not. That type of stuff's got to kind of like, you know what I mean? We got to.
Good luck.
Yeah, I was going to say, go back to
he's a
2018 and see what LeBron was doing the week before.
The hourglass is
Isaiah Thomas.
I know, like, our time is limited, folks.
I'd be calling him like, yo, you talking
Hey, but
to me?
you know what? The one
Go back
thing
to when
I do
Austin was in high school. You want the honest assessment.
The one thing I do like is that when we are seeing these subliminals, his teammates are rising to the occasion.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the best thing for them to realize that, hey, we have value here. And I do think it's best in their best interest to sit tight, because they have more flexibility if they make it through the season. But the problem is the rest of the league has gotten better. And when LeBron James is throwing out subliminals, something's probably going to happen. This current iteration of the Lakers is above average, even though they are able to beat the best of the best in these unique moments. But those unique moments are one-game intervals at a time.
Right.
Doing it 4 times in a 7-game series, we will see some of those weaknesses manifest.
Can I be really honest? It feels like the Lakers, the Lakers the rest of this season, right? If they can find a way, if they can get past the play-in, if they can get to the playoffs.
Scary team.
They're a scary team.
No one wants to play them.
No one wants to face them with something on the line.
This is what LeBron is essentially saying.
Right. They just have to get to that spot.
Give me some help so we can get to where we need to go.
Get to that spot. This is the time of year that we've all seen LeBron James, he sort of turns up the pressure cooker a little bit. We've seen this time and time again, and you detailed it on the incredibly popular Hoop Collective podcast, Brian Windhorst, and all of you can catch on ESPN2 now. LeBron can pick up his option at any time. The deadline for him to do so is June 29th. Why in the world is that significant? Why in the world is that important? Well, it's the day after the NBA draft here, 3 days after, rather. Connect the dots for me here, Brian.
Well, I just think, here's the thing. I honestly believe LeBron is going to play for $51 million next year, or some big number. The idea that he's going to opt out of his contract, I don't think that's likely. I also believe it's probably going to be in Los Angeles. But because of that option, he holds the ability to influence things. He can influence the Lakers. He can influence the Lakers this week at the trade deadline. He can influence the Lakers at the draft if he's going to try to do that. He can influence another team at the draft if he wants to try to do that. And so that's why I think it's interesting. One of the things that LeBron has made clear is that it's his dream to play with Bronny in the NBA. It may not necessarily be Bronny's dream. It may not be something that is the best for Bronny in 2024. which could be his rookie year in professional basketball. So I think it's dangerous to make any assumptions about anything, but I do think it's fair to say that that option, with Bronny being in this draft, is something intriguing that a lot of people are just keeping in the back of their head.
Are you keeping it just back there?
I mean, I hope it doesn't happen.
What do you mean?
I don't want to see Bronny play with his dad. I really don't.
Why?
I went through something similar. It was a very similar situation, but also different. I was already in the NBA when I went to go play for him. What happens is a lot of people start to discredit everything that you've done. This kid has been in the limelight since he was born. First day on Instagram, he had 1 million followers. He's handled it so well. He's played well in Sierra Canyon amongst talent and was able to get himself to a school like USC. Right now, his numbers don't scream pro. So if he is to go in the draft or if he gets picked, it'd be great to get picked up by a contending team that could help him, put him in a situation, because he does have talent. He does have basketball IQ. He has potential. Him going and play with his dad, at this point in his career, just because Bronny's success isn't at a top-tier level,
right,
him getting drafted and playing with his dad, I don't want that negativity to come his way because he doesn't deserve it. He's not a top 10 pick. He's not a lottery pick. He's none of those things. I was all those things. And then still, when I went to go play for the Clippers, people were like, oh, you're only in the league because you're that. After me being the #1 player in the United States 2 years prior.
Right.
This is a whole different situation. And at a different level because, yeah, Doc's great. LeBron James is the most popular basketball player to ever play other than who? Maybe Michael Jordan?
Right.
It just would be a lot, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I hope for the kid that he's able to not only play in the NBA, but play somewhere where he can kind of niche out his own identity. His name's already Bronny. You know what I mean? Everything that we talk about with him, it always kind of folds back to his dad, rightfully so. He plays for USC, and his dad plays down the street for the Lakers. It's just an insane situation, and the way he's handled it, I'm a fan of Bronny, I really am, but I hope it goes somewhere else. I really do.
So, Wendy, Golden State still sits a game and a half behind 10th and the final spot for the play-in. So what is going on in the Bay Area?
Yeah, they've had some discussions involving Andrew Wiggins. I think the issue is he is underachieving right now. He's having his worst season since he came to Golden State, worst scoring season of his career, and he's on the first year of a 4-year, $109 million contract. It's not the best time to trade him. That said, there are some potential deals out there where they could get multiple players back, especially on the wings, that could potentially help them. And so I think that they will examine that. They will examine that between now and Thursday. The other thing, I do think Chris Paul is an interesting figure because more than anything, being a future Hall of Famer, he's a $30 million expiring contract.
Yeah.
And especially if the Warriors do another deal with Wiggins where they offload some future money, it could potentially open them more willing to trade Chris Paul in a deal where they take on some future money. Again, potentially getting multiple players because they are having difficulty putting it all together. And if they're not touching their core, Draymond, Clay, obviously stand.
That's what I'm trying to make it make sense. If they're not touching their core and Andrew Wiggins is not playing to the best of his ability so that he can be a better trade asset, does that mean Chris Paul is the only option potentially heading into the deadline?
The thing about it is, Chiney, this team is $400 million.
Yeah.
Okay? Chris Paul, part of the reason he's there is because his money's coming off the books and they were clearing off the Jordan Poole money so that they could afford to keep this team together. If they do a Chris Paul trade and they take back more salary, and then they still have to pay potentially Klay Thompson next year, I don't know if it works. So, yes, it's possible that they use him in a trade, but it's a financial decision almost as much as it is anything else.
So, Austin, you're Steph Curry.
Yep.
You're walking into the front office and saying what to them right now?
Bring me some help. I don't know how that can happen, though. They're in no man's land. I mean, this decision, in terms of, we're talking about the Warriors' downfall, this started when they got rid of Jordan Poole, in my opinion. When you doubled down on this team with Draymond and all these teams, they got rid of their youngest asset, who was talented. Now you got Kuminga, who's outplaying Wiggins it's not even close. Wiggins isn't playing to the level, like you said, we can't trade him. Clay's a person that doesn't have trade value right now. Draymond's a guy who's pretty much, I don't even know what his trade value is. So they're stuck in this middle land to where they don't know if they can restart and rebuild because they gave away Poole. They're also trying to hang on to this dynasty that they've had. Dunleavy's a first-year exec at that position, and he doesn't want to be the guy that traded away the Hall of Famers that have built this dynasty.
And he won't. He won't.
So it's like, where does this team go? I don't know. I mean, the one shining light that I have on this team is Kuminga.
Yep.
That's the one guy I look at who I'm not. If there's two people on this team that are off the books for trading, it's Stephen Curry and Jonathan Kuminga.
This is the problem is Kuminga might be their most valuable.
That's exactly the
true.
point, yeah.
But the way Kuminga plays, which is sort of a different, more modern style than the way the Warriors play, where they share the ball, they play differently than each other. So they don't totally fit together. They almost play two different teams.
Yep.
So there's a lot that they're trying to do. If they get Kuminga better aligned, that might even be as good as a trade.
Right.
But they haven't seen the results.
Yep.
That's been obviously difficult.